Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the Xbox Series S versus the PlayStation 5 and see how both of these consoles compare in 2023. Now, for the basis of this video, we will be comparing the digital version of the PlayStation 5 against the Xbox Series S. And the reason for that is because these are the cheapest, latest consoles that both these manufacturers make, but also they both are way more similar since they both do not have disc trays. And that is probably the biggest reason why I would recommend buying an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 disc model, because you do actually get the disc tray. That is probably the biggest takeaway that I've gotten, at least from owning all these consoles. The disc tray does make a pretty big difference, but regardless, you are still getting very solid consoles from both of these, and I think they both deserve a lot of credit there. So if you want to pick up either one of these consoles, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, the biggest thing to keep in mind between both of these is that definitely the Xbox Series S is a different type of console than the PlayStation 5. The PS5 is not going for the same demographic, I don't think, as the Series S. So with the PlayStation 5, it's pretty much costing about $500 to pick up right now for the disc model, but the digital console does cost $399. So keeping that price tag in perspective, you were only saving $100 going from the disc one to the digital one. And the reason for that is because internally, they are almost exactly the same type of console. In fact, they are the same console. It's just one has the components to make, read the disc tray and everything like that, where the digital one doesn't have that capability. However, the difference in price tag between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, there is a much bigger difference there. There's at least a few $100 difference between the Series S and the Series X. And the reason for that is because the Series S is not only just removing that disc tray, but it's also a less powerful console compared to the Xbox Series X. So with the PlayStation 5 digital, it isn't a less powerful console. It is the same exact power as a disc model. But the Series S, as we can see now, is a less powerful console, which I think is totally okay, because you are saving money. It is cheaper than the PlayStation 5, and because of that, I kind of think the Series S is a better deal than the PlayStation 5 digital one. The Series S has seen a little bit of a price decrease from what I can tell on Amazon, and also I feel like they're much more available. You can find them all over the place, and that kind of stuff makes me think that the Series S is a way easier way of just getting into that next generation of console gaming. And you have to remember, a lot of games that are going to be coming out are going to be available for both of these consoles. Unless there's like a game console exclusive, like a Sony exclusive or a Microsoft exclusive, most probably you are going to be getting the same type of experience between both, which I think is actually very, very cool for the Xbox Series S. But I will say, for the PlayStation 5 digital right now, having that extra power means that you are going to be getting a much better experience potentially from something like the PlayStation 5. So on the PlayStation 5 side, you are getting an overall faster performing console for the most part. So if we're going to compare like spec per spec, the Xbox Series S, its CPU is 8 cores at 3.6 GHz. The PlayStation 5 is 8 cores up to 3.5 GHz. So you might think that, it's slower, faster, but you are getting a better, I would say, you're getting that custom AMD Ryzen Zen 2 CPU, whereas on the CPU on the Xbox Series S is the AMD 7nm. So keep that in mind. But with the GPU, there's also a slight difference, and this is where the biggest difference probably will lie. With the Series S, you're getting 4 teraflops at 1.5 GHz. Whereas on the PlayStation 5, you were getting 10.3 teraflops that can go up to 2.23 GHz. So keeping that in the back of your head, you are getting an overall faster GPU on the PlayStation 5 than on the Series S. Now, I don't think it's like quite twice as much, I don't think the numbers correlate that well, but you have to remember that with the PlayStation 5, if you want to get the best gaming quality, you are probably going to find yourself being in that type of position on something like a PlayStation 5 than on the Series S. And we've seen this for the last several years. Although the Series S has still a very powerful console for the price you're paying for it, you are getting the overall faster console on the PlayStation 5, and I think everyone knows this by now. RAM is also another very big difference. The RAM on the Series S goes up to 10 gigabytes, where the PlayStation 5 is 16 gigabytes of RAM. That is a massive difference right there as well. Having that extra, 6 gigs of RAM will honestly give you that much better of an experience. And although, like I said, the PlayStation 5, is going to be the faster one, I think we all know this, the Series S is, still a very, very fast console. Like, with the price that you're paying for it, it basically all comes down to that, in my opinion. Now, on top of that, probably the biggest difference, which kind of ties into the performance and everything, is with the resolutions you can basically output to. So the Series S can output to 1440p, but it can go up to 4K with upscaling. So that was kind of the one thing, Xbox kind of advertised a little bit with the Series S. So you can upscale with that. But with the PlayStation 5, you can actually go up to 8K in its resolution. That is a really big difference. And if you have like an 8K monitor, or if you have the ability of playing any 8K, resolution games on a monitor or screen that you have, that is a big, big difference. But how many people are going to be playing 8K video? How many people need that extra power? To be honest, me personally, I'm not really affected by that. My PlayStation 5 and my Xbox Series S that I have, I'm not really, I'm not maxing out the performance of either of those consoles. So yeah, it would be nice to have more power, but if you are able to save more money and basically get a similar experience, I think I'm totally okay with that. I'll give you a perfect example. With the Nintendo Switch, of course that console is very underpowered to what we have nowadays, but there are lots of games that are overlapping between several different systems, but those games are very, very optimized because they have to be on the Nintendo Switch in order for it to run at the hardware at decent frames. The same exact theory, I think, is for the Xbox Series S as well. A lot of these games, you can tune down the resolution, game developers can figure out a way to make the same games run on each console, and I'm perfectly fine with having like a lower resolution or maybe like a less powerful console, and the games running maybe not as high quality if it means I can get the console or get the games at a cheaper price. And in this case, the console is cheaper. So I think it's not quite apples to apples. If you're wanting the best performance, of course the PlayStation 5 is going to get you there. But if you don't really mind, like if you're in a situation like myself where I don't really care too much, I just want to play the game and have a great time, I think the Xbox Series S is kind of like a no-brainer right there. So to kind of sum up this comparison, it's been almost 3 years since the Xbox Series S and the PlayStation 5s have came out, and I still think to this day that both these consoles are very powerful. They have a ton of capability, and I feel like we haven't even really tapped out on what these consoles can bring. But I think the console that a majority of people would probably be okay with is something like the Series S. And the reason for that is because it's cheaper. It's just as easy as available to get nowadays. You can get them on Amazon all day long. The digital PlayStation 5 isn't as easy to get. The disc one may be easier, I'm not too sure, but the digital one that I researched for this video is not as easy to get on Amazon. You can probably find it in stores and maybe locally around you, but you are going to be in a better situation, I think, if you kind of understand that if you're more of like a power user, you max out the games and the games are glitching on your console already, the PS5 is probably the better way to go. But if you want to save a little bit more money, get less of a powerful console, but still get similar experience, I think the Series S is a very, very good deal. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.